These are your notes for database fundamentals. What is a database? A database is used to organize a large amount of information. We're going to be talking about electronic ones, but databases come in all kinds of forms. All of us are in a database in school. For example, all of us have a number that deals with the data rapid identity thing. The power schools, we all have an ID for that. We're all in a database when we go to the doctor or hospital. Each doctor's office has a file on record for us. Then we have a social security number. We're all in a social security database somewhere. So they just group large amounts of information that you can go and find and retrieve the information. These are some that are not necessarily electronic: telephone book, student data, music. When you go to iTunes or whatever and you download some music, then all of that's kept in a database and that's why you can choose album, the song, or the artist, because they're in some sort of database that will allow you to find that song based on that information. Dictionaries are an example of there. These are just various ones here. What makes a database? Well, a database has 4 objects. These are the main objects to it. One are tables. You can't have a database if you don't have a table. Tables are what consist of rows and columns. You also have what are known as queries. Queries do a lot of filters, except for you can save queries where you don't save filters. You have forms. You guys will use forms every day. If you go on the internet and you try to create a new membership to a site, then you have to fill out the information: your first name, last name, birth date, those type of things, and that's in a form. And then reports, they summarize and give us the information that's in our database. Tables, they are what's stored. This is what our table looks like over here. You have they're made up of rows and columns. Now, in a database in Microsoft Access, rows are known as records and columns are known as fields. But they like I said earlier, every database must have a table in order for you to have a database. And your database will consist of field names as well as information in the fields. These are what makes up one. We used to have a saying called every Friday's real fun. E for entry. Every little box of information in a database is known as an entry. I give you an example down here. John Doe is an entry. John would be under the first name and Doe would be the last name. But each little piece of information in a database or in a table is an entry. And then an entry makes up a field. Now these are your columns of information. So you may have a field that's just all first names, or a field that's just all last names or addresses. But it goes with field, and then fields make up a record. And a record is all the information about one individual or one thing. So for example, if I was going to put in there Lisa DeCastilia at 305 Edenton Road Street, Hertford, North Carolina, that entire thing there is a record. But if I broke it down into a field, I would have first name Lisa, that would be a field. Last name DeCastilia, that would be in a field as well. But all of it together is known as a record. And then a record will make up a file. And that's how I got Every Friday's Real Fun, EFRF. This is showing you some of the different parts of a database. Each of these little things you see, Green Day, that is an entry. Get Lifted, that's an entry. R&B over here, they're entries. You have records. All this information about Ray Charles. Ray Charles is the artist. His Genius Loves Company is a CD title. And then when it was released and the genre of it, R&B, are all that is known as a record. That's all the information about that CD and for Ray Charles. But artist, notice you have musician ID. This is an ID number. Artist is a field name. CD title is a field name. Release date is a field name. And genre is a field name. In the artist field, you're going to have all the artist names. In the CD title, you'll have all the CD titles. Genre, all the genres. Now, we talked about records and the entries, but that's if I said what is going to be in the artist field, then you'll tell me the artist's name. To figure out how many entries are in here, if you multiply how many fields by how many rows you have, that will give you how many entries. For example, you can see down here, there are 5 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you multiply it by how many records, which is 26, and that means you have 130 entries. So that's how you can tell how many entries you have. This is an example of a record. These are my field names: name, B-Day, SS for Social Security, street, city, state, zip, phone. Those are all fields. But all this information about Susan Almond is her record. But each thing under name would be everybody's name. Under B-Day, would be everybody's birthday. Okay? But the fields go like columns, and rows, or which are known as records in databases, they go left to right.